yourself there? Was that like you just had to take it all in? You were like, okay, I know what I have to do for the next hour plus. You know what? Maybe we can be out of here in 45 minutes if we try.
I mean, really, that's all the action is, like 5 minutes. The last 5 minutes is action.
I sat there so many times going, I'm not writing anything in my notes. Like, I don't even know what to write at this point. Like, it's the same.
What's going on?
They're still punching each other. He's still crouching and sneaking around. Okay, all right.
Oh wait, now there's worms. Now there's worms.
Why
I wish that chicken was still alive because he probably liked those worms.
How were there so many worms on him? All he did was he just jumped into like the brush and suddenly covered in worms.
How is it that the chicken was my favorite character in all of it?
It was like a deleted scene where a guy took a shovel load of worms and just threw them into the jungle. And no like deadly snakes or anything. I was ready for something like that, you know?
Me too. When he was hiding in the brush, I was expecting it.
I mean, I think we have made our thoughts very clear about Chuck Norris. And this it just supports every confusing question I had about his, like, people must just like him ironically, right? Like,
I don't think anybody, I mean, because I guess most of this movie, he's got his feet tied together, so we don't really get to see a lot of his swift kung fu karate moves. And I'm sorry if I'm not doing it justice, if he's a martial artiste. Maybe I'm giving him the wrong title. But I don't get it. I don't get the appeal of Chuck. I have to say, I would like to chuck him out of our podcast after this. Could we just say we're done with Chuck Norris movies after this?
I think we have to retire him. I think that the only time we should go to Chuck Norris is if we exhaust every other movie made in this 10-year period. And then we could be Missing in Action 1. But until then...
But this is the beginning. It's Missing in Action 2, the beginning.
This is the beginning. There's a great... And I'll just tell you this now because we don't have to build it into the episode. This is all for patrons anyway. So they filmed Missing in Action and Missing in Action 2 back to back.
Well, that was...
Right. So hold on. No. This is great because... So they filmed this one where he breaks out of POW camp. Then they film the other one where he returns and he like rescues other POWs. So they had these two done and they went, you know what? This one where he's in the camp is super boring and terrible. Let's release the other one first. Call that Missing in Action and then just release this as a prequel. So I can't imagine the other one's better, but I think we made a really bad choice here.
Well, because really? Really? What's happening? I would rather... All right. I don't want to give too much away with how I feel about this movie.
No, this is Patreon territory. We're not doing final judgments in the end. We don't do recommendations. We just poop on a movie and then we hit stop at the end. Like
I would rather put a burlap bag with a rat in it over my head than watch this movie ever again.
Can I tell you, in college, when we were in college, I don't know if you remember, there was a short period where, and sorry, patrons, you're not going to, this is inside baseball stuff or whatever. There was a short period of time where Jim Horvat and Bill Scudda and this other guy, Kevin, they had a band, right? And it was called Colic.
Okay.
They had a song called Chuck Ate a Rat.
It was about this.
It was about
this very thing, because he does.
Just in passing one day, I was like, Jim, what Chuck Ate a Rat was that about? He's like, oh, yeah, there's this Chuck Norris movie where they put a bag over his head with a rat in it and he eats it.
Yeah.
And when that happened in this movie, it was the one genuine moment of excitement I had.
You were like, there he is, it's Chuck eating a rat. But even that, he eats it so the bag's on his head and he's like, you hear him like a dog with the bag on his head, and then he's just got the rat in his mouth and he's like,
but his like eyes are closed. Like I needed him to like look over at the guy and like, give him a nasty look or like chew the head off or something like that. He is dead weight. I was so excited when they burn that guy, which is, first of all, horrible. First of all.
Wait, that guy got malaria,
That guy-
then got given opium, and then got burned alive
You said
while
he
he was
got,
high on opium.
you said he got malaria. He got malaria again. Because they go,
Oh, yeah,
I think
that's
the
right.
malaria's back. And I was like, this guy has had a tough 10 years. But when they burned him, there was, for one moment, all those reaction shots of Chuck Norris. I was like, please let him cry. Like, please let something, just
I love it.
let him
I love
emote.
it. He was emotionless when he goes, stop, no. He's still alive. He's still alive. He doesn't even shout it.
No.
He doesn't even shout it. It's like the rat is still in his mouth.
Yeah.
He can't even speak.
He mutters it so much. I wanted the guy with the glasses behind him to be like, what did you just say? I can't understand you. I'm right here. Chuck, what are you talking about? Oh my God. He's terrible.
Oh, he's the worst.
And-
And the rest of the cast, it's not like any of them do any
No.
better.
No.
I mean,
That blonde guy disappears for most of this.
Who
And
then
before
comes
that
back.
has no lines.
what the hell was he doing in the jungle anyway the whole time?
I have no idea. You know what I'm happy about? I'm glad all the white people lived in this movie. I was like, can't you let one black person live? No, those are the ones you have to kill. It's terrible.
No.
And you know what it is? I mean, it is Chuck Norris, and it is the script, and it is a canon film, and it is, it's all this stuff. But the problem is, and I don't want to compare him to the likes of Arnold or Stallone or even Van Damme, but they have jokes in their movies. Like there's some
know.
humor.
There's a
and
little silliness. Yeah.
it's like they can't even trust him to deliver a joke or to react
No.
to a joke.
No, because he can't react to anything. Look at his reactions that he has. There's even when he's angry, he doesn't look angry. Like at the end when he's like throws the last grenade and he's like, "Who won?" or whatever.
Oh, it was,
you lost.
This is for me.
Oh, that's.
I like it when he punches the guy. He's like, "This is for Johnson." I'm like, "Who the fuck is Johnson? Who is that? I know it's not you. You're Braddock." I only had to keep track of 5 names in this movie. I could not. I was like, I don't know what their names are. I wrote them down at the beginning, but like an idiot, I wrote down all the guys' first names, and they only refer to each other by their last names.
Yeah. Tony, I think, was the only one that I got.
Of course, you got Tony. You were like,
course.
"Oh, Tony, he's a Yankees fan." All right.
I could get with this guy till he's being hung by his foot from the helicopter when he's brought back. I'm like, what is? Tony got found.
This movie is just.
And I thought Tony died when he fell off the cliff and
course.
broke his neck.
I thought Tony died plenty of times. I thought that was a corpse hanging from that helicopter. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, poor Tony's dead." All right.
No, I do like Tony's last kill though, when he's like got all these guns and he's got a grenade, but he just takes a stick and plows it through the guy's heart.
A giant stick. I do have to say, and you'll know when we get there, this movie injected a little bit of life, and I will just do this one impression of a character that I kind of loved. When this guy showed up and he was like, "Oh, I got all the girls for you." I was like, "Oh, okay. All right, I can get behind this character. This guy's in a different movie."
We saw him in the Garlic documentary also.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, what was his name? Jack K?
Yeah, Jack K. Yes. He was on 227 for a little bit. Oh, this movie. So, first of all, patrons, thank you for your continued support. Without you, we may have never seen this movie.
That's right. No.
And we are in full swing in the summer of sequels, and that's why we're doing this and not a good movie, I guess.
Oh,
So,
I wish I was missing in action when I thought for part of this movie. I thought, what if I just didn't watch the last 30 minutes? What if I just stopped right now and just said, yeah, no, I didn't want to do it. I won't though. I won't.
Okay.
That tells you how much I love this podcast and how true I am to you and our fans. because I thought about it. I thought, I don't need the rest of this movie in my life. I'm pretty sure he's going to try to kick that Vietnam leader guy's ass.
Yeah, but honestly, if you didn't watch the last 30 minutes, you
It's
could
the last
probably
30 minutes.
make it up. You'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I'll bet he escapes and runs around, and the Vietnamese guy threatens him by trying to kill one of his friends, because that happens 5 times in this movie before the end.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, it's Missing in Action 2, The Beginning. From 1985, the same year that Back to the Future came out.
Oh, that's funny. As I was flipping through my notes and trying to find this, I saw Time Machine, and I'm like, there was no time machine, right, for this? I wish there was a time. I mean, kind of, because they're
Wait.
go to Nam, and then it's 10 years later that they're so. It's not really.
Oh God! How about that 10 years later thing? Where I was like, did I accidentally turn on the History Channel? Like,
Yeah,
is this
yeah, with
just
Reagan
a
and everything. Yeah, the
program
parade.
about POWs now?
You're frozy.
Uh-oh.
You're frozy. Sip beer, that'll make you unfrozy. Mm-mm. You're frozy. How's my internet? Looking strong. Oh, there you go. There you go.
It's like we
I have to
should
know-
never start an episode before 15 minutes hits. We should just every time.
Well, the
You have to
patrons love
know
it. Do
what.
you keep on these blurbs? Do you keep on like?
I
when
keep
we're
'em on.
waiting for each other's?
Yeah, when I release the episodes early for patrons, I don't cut anything.
It's
And
everything.
with these patrons episodes, I don't cut anything either. So
So they get to
let me
know
know,
when sound
patrons.
goes out.
Should I cut out the freezes? Because it's not like when one of us leaves to pee and the other one tries to talk. When we freeze, I just sit and I stare. I don't say
sometimes
anything.
I mumble about you being frozen, like I did just
okay.
now.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like I used to do that. Now I just stop and I'm like, it'll come back. I know it'll come back.
And it does, and it
Yeah.
does, just like Chuck.
You can't keep him down. He'll
No,
always
he's a-
come back.
I would just kind of mad at him. Like at a certain point, if I was in this prisoner of war situation with him, I mean, I guess the guy wasn't really going to let him sign the confession and just let them all go away. But I'm like, buddy, are you really going to be that freaking stubborn?
Yeah,
Can you
that's a great
But
point.
I guess
Because I thought of it many times. I was like, it's 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's 10 years.
how about 10 years and somehow his wife wrote him a letter and they got their hands on it?
But
How did that
also,
happen?
that all has to be fake, right? Like,
Totally.
At every turn, I was like, why are you falling for this? Like, over
Yeah.
10 years, you know he's played this letter game with you several times. He played
Yeah.
the no bullet in the gun game with you before. Like, come on. None of this is
These
new
are
at this
all
point.
right. These
All
are
right.
all little acts. You know how it goes down.
Let's talk about it, because that's
We're
what we're
talking
here to do.
about
We
it. That's what-
watched it for some reason.
We did, so we might as well discuss it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So we're in Vietnam. The year question mark.
Mm-hmm.
So Chuck Norris and Pilot and the beardy guy, the other white beardy guy.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yes. And
The-
let's just call him Malaria. Sure.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So they're in a helicopter and they're going to save these other 2 guys who are pinned down
in the jungles of Vietnam.
in the jungles of Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
They do save these guys, but in the commotion of war, the pilot is shot and the helicopter is going down.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's a scary time. What do? Do they stay on the chopper? No.
No, you listen to what Chuck Norris says,
Yeah.
which is jump,
Jump right
Jump.
into the water. Let's just very
Jump.
much like that.
jump. And the last guy won't, and he goes, jump. That's an order. Great. Very commanding presence.
That was exactly how it went down. No lie. No lie.
I do have to say, I really enjoyed the introduction to the characters when they would jump out of the helicopter and it would freeze
oh
frame
yeah,
on them,
freeze frame on them.
and it would show their name,
Well-
and then it would stamp missing in action on top.
Yes, yes. I have to tell you, when this is the very beginning of the movie, and I thought, oh, this is our movie. Okay.
I mean, it
see where we're
feels like an episode of the A-Team. Like, this is how the episode of the A-Team would start and would open.
going. right.
But we do at least get in, like, they're like, listen, here's your 5 main characters. So just, these are the people we're going to follow. Here's their names, their ranks, whatever. And they're missing in action.
MIA.
And again, I wrote down their first names, but this is of no help. David. Oh, David's the bad guy. David's the traitor.
Oh, he's the one that, well, he does have a last name. Wait, I wrote it down at the very, very end. It starts with a T. And he is the traitor. Yeah, finally he comes through at the end, but are you tapping something?
Oh, there we go. Sorry, I muted my mic. My dog's like coughing in the background. His last name is T. Is his name David Trader?
It might be. Mazzelli is the Tony.
That's Anthony. Yeah, that's Anthony. Lawrence is the blonde guy, and Ernest is Malaria.
Okay. I like it. All right, so you did better than me, yeah, because my notes are all over the place. I don't know. Well, I'll come up with the name.
All right, okay. No, that's fine. Okay. That's okay. So
I like it. Let's call him Malaria. And then who's the guy, the little Asian guy with the glasses? Who is he? Because he's on their team, but
he is such a huge part of this movie.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm like, oh, I didn't get an introduction to this guy. I guess I just met him sometime in the past 10 years.
Was he just part of the prisoners of war camp? Is that what it was? Like,
well, they refer to him as like doctor or professor or something like that. So if I'm talking about him, I'll just call him Professor. But we'll get to him and his bare butt eventually.
Oh. I was like, why are they doing that to that poor guy?
Like, this is interesting and different means of torture. Okay. I mean, I guess that would be humiliating, but I don't know. No worse than other stuff that I've seen them do to people.
Yeah. The other guy's crying with a gun to his head. I think naked with some dirty whores around you. I mean, weird.
Hey, listen. I mean, we don't have to put down what those women do for a living.
Oh, right. Okay. They did get to fly in a helicopter.
They did.
With Jack Kay.
Jack Kay flew them in. I brought you some guns and girls. So we then are transported to sort of like B-roll.
Like a History Channel episode, yeah.
Well, you get voiceover footage of like, Vietnam was 10 years ago and there's still POWs there. And here's our current president, Ronald Reagan, to tell you a few things. I'm not going to do a Ronald Reagan impression. Last time I did that, you were very angry. And I think I just went, well, and you were like, nope, we're not, not doing that. Guys, check out our DC Cab episode. That's where I did it. So, yeah, it really did. It felt like something that we'd put on at school, like in history class.
Yes. We just got bombarded with some footage of...
Yeah. And it's just like, listen, everybody didn't come back from Vietnam. There's POWs still over there. We don't know what happened to them. And
there's
Ronald
lots
Reagan's
of sad
like,
moms.
Right. Ronald Reagan's like, they're missing in action and we're going to go get them.
Yeah.
Ooh, but now we're back in Vietnam at this POW camp.
Yeah, at the camp. And who's the leader? Who's this Vietnamese leader, this angry man?
His name...
Who apparently has very special boots that you can tell a difference between everybody else's boots.
That was so confusing. And near the end when they show that
body...
And I
like how the guy that was barely there is like, look at his shoes.
Well, he was there for 10 years.
I guess.
Yeah, that really was great. Chuck Norris, the only dumb thing he's about to do is to run into this situation. And Blondie's like, whoa. Look at that guy's boots. That's not him. And then at the end of this movie, they see a leg, just a leg laying there with boots on it. And they're like, he must be dead. And it's like, did he swap out his boots at the last minute with some other guy?
The boot is important to note, I guess.
So important. But then he crawls out from under the floorboards and he has his boots on. I was like, well, wait, so somebody else has these boots too. It's so dumb. His name is Colonel Yen.
Colonel Yen, I should have...
Yen? Okay. Yun? Something like that.
He does yell it a lot, I guess.
Yeah. His underlings.
Yen!
His underlings, who I'll just call Husky Guy and Mustache. Like, nobody else really has any important... I mean, these aren't characters. None of these people are characters or fleshed out at all. Like you said... Tony is probably the most like a character in this because
Well, we get a little bit of background on him too. He talks about having a kid that he hadn't
God.
seen yet and a wife. I like it. I think it's Malaria that's like, well, I made a deal with my wife to have 4 kids, and now she's been alone with those 4 kids for 10 years.
But I like how Tony, again, these aren't characters. Nothing they're doing makes sense or even matters. And the script is so terrible. These guys have been together for 10 years. And Tony at one point goes, I'm not going to see my wife, Gina, again. I was like, dude, you could say my wife. You could say Gina. These guys have known you for a long time. They're not going to be confused if you just use your wife's name. But we need to know. So we're introduced with Colonel Yen bragging about how they've never escaped before and they will never escape. He just he calls them out to like a meeting just to be like, ha ha ha, you've never escaped and you never will because I'm great and you're a bunch of losers. He's like our president. So, and he does say, this is the first of many times in this movie where he basically says, listen, I'll let you all go. If Chuck Norris, Braddock...
There's just one little confession.
Just confess. Confess to, I don't know what, but sign this paper.
These alleged war crimes on the people of Vietnam.
Right, yes. Yeah, you sign this paper. You've been here for 10 years. I'll totally let you guys go.
Yeah.
But he won't.
No, and I get angry at him. I'm like, you know what? That poor little man didn't have to be naked and embarrassed if you would have just signed that paper. Your friend would not have died of malaria.
Right.
If you just would have signed. But it's true. The Yen shows himself to be a very shady character, so you don't want to trust him. I get that. But they live in this like is it underground?
It's like a hole.
Yeah.
With like, wood on top. I gotta let this dog upstairs. He's just pacing around.
He's nervous. You make him nervous when you talk about Chuck Norris. And you're back.
All
right.
Yeah.
You just literally kicked that dog's ass like Chuck Norris style.
I totally did. I did a somersault and then my legs wrapped around the dog's head. My big finishing move. It doesn't look silly at all. So these guys, like you said, they're living underground. They're kept in this underground sort of cage area. But there's other workers too, or other prisoners.
And that are working, that are meant to like slaves. They're treated like, right? Where they're like farming the land.
Well, they always just seem to be digging holes. Like they're not really doing anything. They're not, I mean, they talk later about how this is a big like opium company, not company, but you know what I mean? Like this, they're gun running and there's all this opium, but we don't see them like working in poppy field. Like I don't know.
I know.
It's almost because every time you see them, they're sort of just in a bunch of mud and they just like have
digging through it. Yeah.
Shovels and they're just digging around. They're digging around and the one guy, Professor, he walks over to Tony with a worm and he's like, hey, look, I found a worm. He's so excited about this.
Well, that's when we meet the professor guy, right?
Yep.
Is when he's kind to Tony and he's so excited that he found a worm for Tony's pet chicken.
Yeah. And I want a freeze frame of the professor with missing in action to be stamped and
I want to
name.
know. Yes.
Because he makes it through the whole thing. Like he's there longer than half of his dudes.
And he's watching the whole time. I think he gets on the helicopter at the end. I think he's one of the guys to get on the helicopter at the very end. You said though there is a traitor. Oh, and they're besides that they're underground. They're also, like you said, they're in this very isolated part of the jungle too.
Right.
That is very hard to get to and very dense. Obviously,
it's like they just clear cut a small patch of jungle, and that's where they are.
And there's a bridge though that kind of leads out of it. And is it the blonde? No, one of the guys We don't even know who he
His
is.
name's
Or did
his
we?
name's Harry because they yell
knew.
Harry when he runs away. I was like, Harry, this guy's pretty important. I bet he'll come back and save them in the end. Nope.
No, Harry burns up on the bridge. He gets blown away, like
Yeah.
literally.
These guys set him on fire on the bridge, and I was like, "That's a wooden bridge. I wouldn't."
Yeah, I was
do
like,
this."
I would. That's your only way in and out is this
Right.
bridge. I don't know.
I thought it was crazy when at the end, spoiler, Chuck Norris catches the bridge on fire, and I was like, "What side are you on?" Because
Yeah, where
you're not
are
coming
you?
back. Like,
Or when he's under the bridge, like a loony bin.
oh well.
Yeah.
I do have to say for that was the only interesting stunt thing because
It was when he was hanging underneath.
Yeah. I mean, once Stallone has done Rambo 2 and 3 and, all of this stuff before, what can you do that's different? So I at least looked at that and I went, well, that's different. All right.
All right.
Whatever.
And at the time, I think his feet are still chained together.
I was so confused about that because at one point he just takes his leg chains, I guess, and hangs them neatly.
Yeah, delicately.
Corner
So like
of a
like it's
building.
this bra just needing to like dry out.
and I went, wait a minute. He just killed like 5 guys, and I saw him run around. Did he have his leg chains on the whole time?
And I think I don't know. I think he's the only one with the leg chains on.
I think he is. Because
Yeah.
he's such a threat. They put him in a really nice room at the
Yeah.
end of this movie so he can easily escape. So we find out that there's Chuck Norris, there's Blondie, there's Tony, and there's Malaria Boy. But David, you still don't know his last name.
Oh, it's in here somewhere.
It's all right.
Trudeau or something.
David Trudeau.
Later became the leader of Canada.
He's just related to him.
Oh, it's written down here somewhere.
It's fine.
Because I was all excited because he was the. Anyway, go on. I'll find it and I'll shout it at you.
Because at one point after they're digging and they have to go back to their hole in the ground, we do see this David guy walk up, and I was like, "Oh, he's dressed really nice. I wonder why
look
he's
at
not in
him, yeah.
tattered rags like everybody else."
Yeah, because everybody else is dirty and
Right.
they all look real tired and over it.
Yeah.
One of them has possible malaria for a second time.
Right. And I like how he's talking to them, and they're all like, "You're such a traitor, man. We would never sign that we committed war crimes and everything." And for some reason, like, I think it's Tony that's like, "Oh, man, what am I going to tell my kids about you?" And David goes, "At least I've seen my kid." And I was like, wait, hold on. Do they have visitation with your children?
Oh, no, I think it's because,
Because the other guy's kid isn't born yet?
yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just trying to be a jerk.
Yeah.
Because at that time, until the end, he's a jerk. He just has to pour wine for that yen guy.
I love it when he's like, "Oh, you know what? You're not really asking my opinion on this, but if I were you, I wouldn't kill me." And Yen's like, "Why not? I could always get someone to pour my wine for me, or I could pour my own wine or whatever." Nonsense. But they're not making this deal, so I guess he has signed the war crime. I don't understand because.
But he's not released. Like, he's just
No.
treated nicer than the rest of them.
Right. He's
Yeah.
not tortured.
Right.
He just gets to hang out.
Right.
But also, what kind of a deal did he strike? Because Yen only seems interested in Chuck Norris.
Right.
He has no interest in these other guys. So what did David have that he wanted?
Maybe he thought that he would. I don't know. Good point.
If I can get all of his guys on my side,
Then eventually he'll
he's
turn.
the last piece. Yeah.
I don't know.
So at night, little Tony, is freaking out. And this is where he's like, "Whenever I close my eyes, I see my wife, Gina." And then because Chuck Norris is the hero, he literally has to look at Chuck Norris and go, "I'm not tough like you,
Yeah, he
Braddock."
says I'm not tough.
It's like, yeah,
Just not
he's the
tough
best.
like you. Yeah. I'm just not. Oh.
So now we get...
And Chuck has nothing to say to that, by the way. Chuck doesn't even give him any kind of like.
No.
And we don't get any kind of like. I mean, we hear about Gina, and Chuck apparently has a wife, but and I know this movie isn't built on these kinds of things, but maybe a little bit of flashback, or even like hold a picture of Gina.
Oh my God.
Or give me some
Ugh.
kind of dream sequence where Chuck is thinking about his wife back home, or something.
Because
you know,
because again, like I don't feel a connection to
any of them.
him. I mean, especially, well, any of them, but especially him, because he doesn't seem like a human. Like at every turn, I love it when Yen's like, you know what, Chuck Norris, I heard your wife's getting remarried, and his response is, if she gets married, I'll be very happy for her. I was like, what? That's not. I don't think the script.
You declared dead.
Right? I don't even think the script asked you to make that your
No.
response. But you're Chuck Norris, and on the fly, you're like, I wouldn't be upset about anything, especially that. I like how Yen's even like, if you sign this paper, I can get you back in time before the wedding. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, he could attend his wife's wedding. That would be nice.
And he could come out like the children from the Attic movie did. And just
Yep.
pummel the wife. Anyway.
He does kind of look like a child from the attic at times in this movie when he gets all like ashy and.
Yeah, but then he takes that dive into the water and
Oh,
he
he
comes
just-
out with a whole new karate outfit and he's refreshed and he's ready to go.
Did you see the dress that the blonde
Oh,
was
yeah.
wearing?
I said that he loses
I was like, what happened to his clothes?
his pants and he's just like in a little mini skirt.
And Chuck Norris
He
tears
has to
off all his
climb over
clothes.
the deck.
Yeah, Chuck Norris tears off all his clothes when he's in the water and they go downstream and then he shows up and he's got like a poncho on. I was like, did you make this?
I know. Oh, man.
God, I hate this. So we get some of the torture at this point. Because the blonde guy is brought out and a gun to his head.
Yeah.
It's like for crimes against the Vietnamese people.
And you're all
sen-
going to watch. Yep,
Right,
yep.
I sentence you to death. Click, click. There's no bullets. Chuck Norris. Wait, is Chuck Norris brought up with the rat yet or no?
No, that's not yet.
Oh, okay. Oh, no.
No,
this,
they do.
this-
They do it in like sections, like one torture at a time. So this was the first one where they pretend shoot the guy in the head, and then they
Yeah.
really don't, and he's crying because he was so scared he thought he was really going to get shot in the head
Yes.
and die. I do like. Well, I don't want to jump ahead, but
Oh, no,
when,
no. We've jumped
British-
ahead. It doesn't matter.
So the random British guy, the reporter, the photographer guy, that's just I don't know what his point
He's
is.
Australian, Jamie.
Oh, that's right. He's Australian. That's right. He says he's from Australia. He does get shot in the head, and a bird like comes out of his head.
The feathers that fly out of this guy's head. That was one of the funniest parts of this movie. A movie that is so ultra violent when we get something that should be really horrific.
Like
and
gory, yeah, like blood and brain splatters.
It just, yeah, I don't even know how to describe it. Like you said, it looks like they shoot in the head and a bird flies out the other side.
That's why at first I was like, wait, did they shoot him or did they shoot a bird that was behind his head? Is he being tortured
I
too?
don't know. Because I love it because the guy's like, don't worry about it. It's
Yeah.
all fake.
Oh my God.
They're not really going to shoot you. And then they shot him and I went, I'm not sure if they did. Like, I don't know if that's fake or not.
Yeah, but then we never see that guy again.
No,
the
he's
Australian
totally dead because it's in slow motion. But,
guy. Yeah.
oh my God. Yeah, the effects. I don't know what. So confused by that. So, again, he's obsessed with Chuck Norris signing a confession. So this is when Chuck Norris is in his office, and he's like, "We could even film this confession. Let's do it right now." I was like, "Are you have cameras?" But this is where he talks about how his wife's going to remarry. Chuck Norris is very happy for her if that's what she wants to do with her life. Nestor.
Nestor.
David Nestor.
Yeah, that's the
is his
traitor,
name.
right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because the Nestor.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
Because the Nestor, you know. But Yen, he's really upset that that Chuck Norris won't sign this. So he's like, now it's time for you to fight Chuck Norris, and you're going to fight your best friend,
Oh, yes.
David.
Yes.
Chuck refuses to fight at first,
Yeah,
but then
he doesn't want to.
they trade punches, and Chuck wins by somersaulting and choking him with his
chains. But he doesn't kill him because a couple scenes later he looks refreshed and he's back on Team Yen.
He is totally fine for a guy whose face was he's spitting blood everywhere. He's on the verge of passing out. He's fine. He's fine.
He makes it. Yeah, Yen gives him some opium, I suppose, and just, he's fine again. Wait, did we talk? Oh well, I guess it's just a brief thing where they share a beer. There's like one bottle of beer that they all share for a minute.
Well, that's what I didn't understand because malaria. Oh, P.S. The one guy has malaria again, and
it's getting worse. Even though every time he's near Chuck, he's like just sweating profusely, and he's like, "It's not. I don't have malaria.
Okay, I'm all right. Don't worry about it." I think if anyone knew if they would have malaria, it would be me.
Right.
I've had malaria before. This isn't malaria. But you're right. The professor guy apparently has stolen beer or somebody passed him beer and they all share it and it's great. And then suddenly Malaria Boy's strung up for beer theft, or is this just more torture?
I think it's just more torture.
Okay. All right. But
I
Chuck
think the rat does come in between this, doesn't it?
No, this is it because Chuck is like,
yeah.
no. He's got
That's right.
malaria. I'll take his place.
Right.
And this is when they string him up and they put a rat in a bag and they put it over his head and he's thrashing and the bag is slowly getting bloodier.
Yeah, you see little blood spots growing.
Yep.
And it's not just thrashing. You hear somebody going, "Arr, arr, 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 arr." Well, you hear somebody. You hear him
And
in the bag, I guess.
yeah. And you know that wasn't Chuck doing that. Chuck is not
No,
coming back in the booth to record that. He's like, that is beneath me. Bring someone else in. But then Chuck goes totally still. Oh no, his guys look so sad. Tony looks so sad.
So he's like, "No, Gina."
Gina, my wife. How am I going to get home to my wife, Gina? Without you, Braddock, you're the best. But then they removed the bag from Chuck's head. Some rat sticking out of his mouth.
And like you said, his eyes are closed. So part of you is like, did he die with the rat in his mouth?
It's like, did the rat suffocate him?
Yeah. Did he choke on the rat?
Right.
Is that what happened?
But no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter because now they're outside working. And the guys are all excited because they hear a helicopter. Oh,
and
that
sounds
like a US
American.
helicopter.
It sounds American, they say.
Right.
There's
But
a
it's
different sound.
just a French guy.
Oui,
Francois. He's bringing some ladies.
Yep.
Oh, also during this commotion, Blondie runs and escapes into the jungle.
Oh, that's when he does his escape.
He makes it look so easy. Like he just
like why did you guys wait 10 years for this?
It's not like he was waiting for this perfect moment for 10 years. It was like one day he was like, I'm done with this. I'm out of here.
Yeah,
See you guys
he's like
later.
throws down his shovel and he's like, "See ya."
Right.
Gonna follow the waterfall. And they don't really chase him much, right?
No.
They just let him like, no, okay, well, he's not Chuck. So.
Listen, they're excited about this French guy and the ladies that he has brought for them.
Yes.
Yeah, he's delivered girls and guns to protect their opioid business. Like, this is when we get the dumbest bit of exposition that doesn't matter at all. This is when Yun prepares or pretends to have a letter from Chuck Norris's wife and he burns it in front of him. And this one was like, how are you falling for this, Chuck Norris? Are you falling for this now?
I don't think you are.
Because you can't
Chuck.
see it in his eyes. You can't see anything.
No. No, in none of it. You can't see it in his eyes. I want to see some emotion in those eyes, and you don't see it.
I know.
No.
It's
just a blank stare. And again, yeah.
So that night when they got these sexy ladies here, they bring out the professor. He's an older gentleman with glasses.
So sweet.
He must be like a South Vietnamese or something like that. And they bring him out, and these two ladies come out and take off his clothes. Not take off his clothes, because then the big fat guy comes over and pulls his pants down.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they just took his shirt off and thought it was hilarious.
Oh, they all got a laugh out of it. And all we see is his, like you said, we see his little bare bum. Mm-hmm. He just stands there. We don't even see like shoulder shrugs, like he's sad. I guess he's just humiliated.
Yep.
And that's just what happened. And again, they can watch from their little underground hut.
That's also what I don't understand. How are they seeing this? Anytime somebody goes in that hut, they have to go in from the top, but then it shows them looking out the side all the time.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
like, isn't
still
that just
some kind
dirt
of windows
walls?
there. Yeah. Oh no.
But they are. They're checking this out, and he's laughed at and humiliated. So great. I don't know. I'm sure somebody.
I don't know
I'm
why.
sure it's a fetish for somebody, I guess.
It's another one. So they each get the little torch or whatever.
Oh yeah, you're
Then-
right. Oh, I didn't really think about how. Well, wait. What has Tony been tortured with?
He kills his chicken.
Well, that's later. Braddock left without you. And have fun with your best friend. And just drops the chicken in, and Tony's crying. Tony's crying through this whole movie.
Tony's emotional. He's emotional.
He was the one that didn't want to jump out of the helicopter. He's like, I'm willing to go down with this thing.
Yeah, and he probably made the better choice. He probably would not have been in
Right.
this camp. if he
Again.
would've- Yeah.
All of this could have been avoided, because even Chuck Norris is like, once I sign that, they're just going to kill all of us. I'm like, dude, what a better outcome for everyone. Rather than being
Right?
tortured for 10 years.
Would you rather continue this torture and your family thinks you're dead anyway? Why don't you all just come on? Or like that one guy did, just run out into the
Right.
freaking
Yeah, exactly.
died in the waterfall.
Yeah.
Which
That guy had malaria twice. You could have avoided all of his pain
All of
and
it.
suffering.
I know.
And then he was burned alive.
alive. He's still alive, Yen. He's still
And he's
alive.
still alive. Like, yeah, but he's tripping balls, so whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But he's high as a kite.
Right.
He even says to them, I think I'm feeling better. And that's when I realized he's really
Sometimes
high.
like, I'm pretty great now, everybody.
Yeah.
Well, let's walk him around. Let's walk around. And what does Yen say? He's like,
He's like, I can't.
he could walk from here to San Francisco. It's not going to save his life. I was like, that's not a great comeback, but I mean, they are trying to walk him around. So,
I guess.
okay. So suddenly, we see some random dude in the jungle just taking pictures of them.
Just with a camera, taking some photos, a little photojournalism.
Yeah. He's quickly caught and taken in front of Yen, who's sitting on this wicker chair that's always
Oh, that
almost
wicker
tipping
chair
over.
that they.
Every time he gets in and out of this thing,
It's
like,
always
he's
like
gonna
in a-
fall over.
Yeah, be careful.
So he's taken in front of him, and he's like, well, why shouldn't I just kill you? I saw you taking a bunch of pictures. And he goes, I'm from the International Freedom House. And I was like, this is a lie. Just shoot this guy. And he's like, oh, I'm with this whole team. Each of us are given 5 square miles to cover. I have this little, radio out in the jungle, and I have to report back. And if I don't report back, they're going to come in. And Yen's like, I believe you. So let me show you where these POWs are. So they put him down with the POWs, and I love how excited Tony is for this. And he's like, oh my God, this is so great. You're here to save
Yeah.
me. He's like, there is no International Freedom House. I totally
Yeah.
lied to him, but he's buying it. It's great. I'm going to get us all out of here. This plan is fantastic.
But then he explains that he's not even with anybody. He's just there alone too, right?
Yeah. It's like, what? Were you
Yeah,
just
the
taking
whole
pictures of
thing was made
birds in
up.
the jungle and you just
Yeah,
found
what the
this?
hell? And how'd you get this deep? Because they're pretty deep in. But and then somehow we find out later he knows Jack Hay. Like, how does Jack Hay know him?
For convenience purposes.
Yeah.
Because seemingly the movie could have ended here. He could have just walked out with all the POWs.
Right.
But he's about to leave. And you're right, Jack Hay comes back to pick up the girls and to deliver more guns or whatever. And this Australian guy's like, oh no, it's Jack Hay. I totally know this guy.
Yeah. He saw me in the jungle.
He saw me. He
I gotta get out of
knows
here
me.
quick.
Oh, also, he gives him some very important information where he's like, we just go through the jungle there, and behind a
Oh,
rock,
yeah.
I hit a rope. it's behind a rock. You can't miss it. I'm sorry. What?
He does. Even later when they're looking for, come on, he said it's around here. I'm looking for the rope.
I like how Tony's like, there's 100 rocks here. What is he talking about?
But wait, does he tell them about the weapons? Is that how they know about where all those weapons are?
No.
This guy?
No,
they already do that.
They see them taking the weapons off of the helicopters. Jack Hay brings them the weapons, and then they take them and put them in this hut. Oh my God, I love that his name's Jack Hay now.
Me too.
So then he goes up and he's trying to get away. He's trying to walk away while the helicopter's landing. He's like, I had to get back and report back, like radio back to my team, and I'll tell them I didn't find anything, and then I'll just leave with the POWs and it'll be great. And he ends even like, hey, there's this French guy. He's landing. I really want you to meet him. It's like, what? What is happening? Oh, so he is very quickly, Frenchie's like, oh, I know this guy. He's not who he says he is. And like we said earlier, he is executed and a bird flies out of his head.
It's very strange.
It's so dumb.
Very strange.
So.
Oh, but now.
Yeah.
Now, Chuck wants to save his dying malaria friend. So he goes to sign this confession finally. There's one of the guys takes a picture of him signing it, like his signature on it isn't enough.
It's so great. Like it's like, well, how much terrible stuff has happened in 10 years? And he's like, I could give him this malaria treatment that I happen to have here. If you sign this contract. And Chuck Norris is like, all right, okay, I'll just do it.
Yeah.
That's fine. Don't worry about it.
That'll work.
Yeah.
I don't want him to die for the second time. I don't want him to have malaria the second time.
So then Yen, the guy who constantly says something and then has lied, and we've seen it so many times in this movie that's only half over at this point. He goes, all right, there we go. I gave him the malaria drugs. He should be fine. Also, I'll let you guys go to tomorrow, but for tonight, why don't you stay in this
sleep
room?
in this room.
Where there's an actual bed. Make yourselves comfortable. Wasn't that easy?
Yeah. All you had to do was sign these papers, and you three men get to shack up here in this room.
And like we said before, Malaria Boy pops up. He's like, I'm feeling so much better. I
guys,
don't know what that was.
This is
but
good, yeah.
Malaria drugs are hella effective. And Chuck Norris is like, oh, it usually doesn't work this quickly.
Yeah. And he says, this is way too fast. It wouldn't work that fast.
Sorry, I gave him too much personality.
Yeah.
Tony's probably crying while they walk him around this room. And then Yen like opens up the door. Like he had been listening the whole time, right outside the door. He opens it and he's like, haha, I gave him a ton of opium.
Yeah, he gave him so much opium, you guys. So much.
Oh my God. And then he's back in his prison.
Chuck is.
Yeah, Chuck and Tony. And they're watching Yen, or one of his men, or somebody, it doesn't matter, dump gasoline all over Malaria Boy.
Yeah.
And just set him on fire.
Yep.
If you can't trust a North Vietnamese dictator, Jamie, who can you trust? And it is brutal. Like in a scene where we saw a guy get shot in the head and it was like shooting a down pillow, suddenly they're burning a guy. Like it's,
alive. Yeah.
It was
the
like
second guy to burn alive because the guy on the bridge burned alive, and now this guy.
Fire's their go-to, let's say.
That's what it is. With all those weapons, that's what they go to. But is this now when Chuck pretends to hang himself?
Yeah.
As a because he was so sad about malaria.
Also,
guy dying.
Here's the problem with this, Jamie. I made a mistake, and I said that he's back in his cage. He's not. They left him in that nice room.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Because he's up in this room, and one of the guys looks through, I like how he looks through the door and doesn't see anything from the waist up. It's just a guy swinging, and he's like, he must be dead. I was like, that room's super tiny. He could clearly see his face. If we were supposed to see his face, we could have. And Chuck Norris breaks this guy's neck. One of 20 neck breaks Chuck gets to do in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And this is when, as I said before we even started, this is he sneaks around a lot. It's just from now on, it's a lot of him crouching and sneaking around.
Right.
And the dumbest guards in the world because he just
Yeah,
waits around corners.
Yeah.
And then they walk around and he kills them one by one.
And there's just like one guard at a time. Because this place you would think is like they're all eyes everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But when Chuck's around, he can crawl and crouch, but he's just trying to get to the one guy. And there's nobody else behind him even looking out on the lookout.
It's like they are purposely trying not to see him.
Right.
Because everywhere he goes, everyone's looking the opposite direction. Like there's not even a scene where he picks up a rock and like throws it in the woods and somebody's like, what's that over there?
Yeah.
No. He's just that great. So
Chuck, I guess.
he kills a few guys. And then his buddy, the professor, like all the rest of the people are out there. This is when Yen tells the guy that Chuck Norris escaped and he left. The only one, he's the only guy left now is Tony. And he murders his chicken.
And Tony's put in a hole all by himself. He's even out of the hole they all live in. And he's put into his own like solitary confinement hole with his dead chicken. Yes. Well, with his chicken that Yen breaks the neck and gives it to him and now he's dead.
Now it's dead and he's just petting it and crying.
I'm so sad.
But everybody else is working, and Chuck Norris makes eyesies at the professor over there. And the professor's like, I'll cause a distraction by just fighting with some guy who doesn't know what's happening. He's not in on this. He just got attacked by his friend. So
stupid.
Yeah, and so Chuck, he basically steals boxes of weapons during this fight distraction.
And I like it because boxes of weapons are, I would assume, pretty heavy. But he picks them up like he's delivering pizza. Oh. He's just like palming them and moving them over to the side where he's like, I'm just going to put these right here. I'm just going to put these heavy weapons right here. And he gets a lot because he arms all of them and he's got all these grenades.
Yep.
And I don't know how he travels with them or how he really...
He's Chuck Norris, Jamie. He's the best. You don't question how he does this. But this is when he delicately hangs his leg chains on the side of this building.
Like,
and I was like, and they like zoom in on it, and I was like, what kind of weird detail is this? What
it's to let you know his legs are free now. Because before he was limited. Now he's
You're right,
not.
yes. If he can kill these guys without full leg mobilization, well,
just
now,
wait.
Oh, he's unstoppable. And we clearly see that. Because I don't know how long it's taken him to do this, but he seems to have rigged the entire camp with explosives. Because now he's just sitting in a hole pushing buttons for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. We just see his finger on this like little joystick, and he's just kind of making explosions happen.
Yep.
He's got grenades just set up everywhere. He does rescue Tony, right? When does he rescue Tony? Or when does he come in and get Tony?
Right now.
Yeah, here we are.
He gets him, and he's like, let's go. And they skip off into the jungle together.
And they look for that rope that the one guy told him about. And then Tony, at one point, I think he tells Tony, like, go. And Tony's like, no, I'm not just going to leave. And then Tony's like, all right, I guess I will. And he jumps off the cliff. And it looks like he lands on his neck. But then next thing we know, he's like swimming in the water.
Wait, are you confusing Tony with the guy who tries to go after Tony and really does fall?
No, I thought that was Tony that fell.
No. Tony gets down to the bottom.
Oh, okay. So that is the guy that goes after him that breaks his neck. Okay.
Yeah, this Vietnamese guy goes after him, and Chuck shoots the rope from a great distance because he's so great. And the guy falls, like his dummy falls, and he's bouncing off of rocks and stuff.
Yeah, because I thought that was Tony, and then when you see Tony later, I was like, how the hell did Tony make it?
No.
But, okay.
So Chuck Norris now, suddenly he's out of bullets for some reason. He stole an entire box of weapons, but he's out of bullets. And he's just picking these guys off one by one. But this is where we find, this is where we get a scene where I thought was funny. This slow motion jump out of a tree.
He goes, "Aya!"
And he kills these two guys. And like we said, he jumps into the jungle, like flat on his stomach, and suddenly is covered in worms. Just covered in worms.
And they
And
do
it's
close-ups of it, like they want us to know.
Yeah.
And I was like, are they maggots? Are they like trying to get? Because he's pretty bloody and dirty at the time. It's before his little waterfall bath. And I wondered, like, are these like leeches or something? Are
Right.
they eating away at his skin?
No.
And they're just worms. They're like earthworms.
Right. This is the point in any one of these movies where the hero is hiding and can't make a sound, and a giant snake just like goes
Yes.
by him. But
Right.
in this movie, they just dumped some worms on him. Like, even for a second, I was like, "Is that a tiny snake? Are there tiny snakes on?" No, they're just worms.
But then you see these worms, and I'm like, yeah, this guy had a burlap sack on his face with a rat in it. He doesn't give two shits about little worms
Right.
crawling on him.
Yes, it's like these are details we don't need in this movie.
Yeah, no.
The worms aren't going to bother him. Why did you even do it? It's
Right.
it's so stupid.
I know.
So, at this point, Yen is freaking out.
Oh,
And
wait.
go
One
ahead.
guy, I do like when the one
Yeah.
guy, one of his assistants, the mustache guy, Yen's mustache
Yep.
guy.
Yeah.
He's on the lookout. He's been told, I guess, to find them, and he can't find, because this is when Chuck is with the worms. He can't find Chuck, and he gets so angry. He's like, "Roar!" But then you realize why he's so angry, because when he goes back to Yen just keeps slapping him across the face like
Yes,
Three
you're right.
Stooges style.
I totally forgot about that.
And it's just like, you're an idiot. And I'm like, well, that's why he's so angry, because he didn't want Yen to call him an idiot.
Yeah, and this scene's hilarious because you're right. It goes from Yen just slapping the hell out of this guy, and suddenly Francois walks in. He's like, "Oh,
yeah.
what is happening here?
You
I
mean
got to
Jack
get
Hay?
back on." Yeah, Jack Hay. He's like, "I got to get back on my helicopter."
Yeah.
And
he's like,
Yen-
I don't have time to stay. Sorry. And Yen's like, I want your helicopter,
Yeah.
because I still got to find that American. Who, P.S. earlier, Francois was like, you shouldn't bother with this American. You're dumb to, like, just kill them. Like, what are you even doing with them? You're going
Right.
to mess up our whole opium deal.
Well, that's the thing. I was like, they're not working opium fields. They're not.
Right.
What is this? Like, what are
And-
you getting out of this, Yen? You're trying to apparently run an opium empire when all you care about are these 5 dudes, one of which is on your team already.
Right. One of which you've gotten. Yeah.
Yes. But Yen gets really upset. He shoots Jack Hay, and then
Yeah,
Jack
Jack
Hay's
Hay's
out of the
down.
movie. What a
Yeah.
shame. So. They,
now this is when Chuck comes
Yeah.
back with his new look.
Wait,
Because
what?
Chuck
What's
has
this?
his new look. He's got his new.
Oh, he's got his poncho on?
Yes.
Yes. So, but this is also where Chuck's hiding underwater,
Oh
and
yes.
then this guy.
oh,
one
with
of
the
Vietnamese-
bamboo thing to breathe at him.
Yep. You notice how he sat up and it was in slow motion, almost like when
Yeah.
they shot it. He probably like went up really fast and was gasping for air, and they're like, "No, we're not gonna do that again. We'll slow this cut down. It'll
Right.
look very dramatic." But he's attacked by a guy, and it's Blondie, the guy who ran away.
Yes,
I don't know,
yes.
several days ago. And
been
even
hiding out
Chuck
in the
Norris
jungle.
is like, "Where did you go?" He's like, "I don't know. I couldn't leave you guys." Like, what have you been doing other than fashioning a dress
Just
for
like
yourself?
swimming, getting a dress and getting comfy with my sexuality.
Because we do not see that he's wearing a dress till the end of this movie, when they see that leg with a boot on it, and he rounds the corner, and I was like, "What is he wearing?"
I literally wrote, the one dude lost his pants.
Oh, it's so awesome. But even Chuck Norris, because he's such a hero, he's like, "Lawrence, thanks for hanging around, but you run for it. I'm going to kill you myself." Lawrence is like, buddy. We're
Yeah,
going to do
no.
this together.
I'm not leaving you. I mean, I made it this long in the jungle.
Right.
Why the hell would I leave
Right.
now?
Yeah, but- well, go off with that guy. He fell on a cliff, and who knows where he is now.
Yeah.
So this is another dumb trick, as we sort of said earlier. Mustache pretends to kill Yen. He's like, "Braddock, look at this.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to throw this guy down
He
who's
makes a
dressed
big announcement
just
in the
like
middle,
Yen.
yeah.
Now I'm going to shoot him. Come on out." And Chuck's like, "This is great. Let's go." But thankfully, Blondie's like, Look at his boots. That's not Yen. All right. Great. The end. The end of that scene. I mean, it comes to nothing. The helicopter arrives with Tony. They've somehow captured Tony again and hang him from the helicopter.
They found him, and now he's just being hung upside down. Yep.
Oh. Go ahead.
Go ahead. So they have Tony, and now they really think they're gonna get Chuck to confess, because they're like, well, we're gonna kill Tony now, and that's it. And I love it where the traitor goes, "Psst, Sally."
It's so funny. No, go ahead.
Anything you want me to tell your kid? I mean, you see why I guess he's doing that, because in the end, this is when he's turning and he's not the traitor anymore. But it's just so awkward because it's this tense time, and Tony's, of course, kind of crying, and they're gonna kill Tony in 30 seconds if Chuck doesn't come out. And this "Psst, hey Tony" thing, it's just weird. It's weird.
Hey, you want me to tell your kids you're a big dumb piece of shit?
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, and he's crying, and then suddenly David comes back to their side, and he starts shooting the bad guys. But then Mustache or whoever shoots
one of them
David.
shoots him. Yeah, David's down. Yeah.
But I love how Tony runs away, and he goes and runs into Chuck's waiting arms, because he's the only one that can protect anybody. And Tony's even like, "Did you see that? Did you see that? David came back to our side. He's a good guy."
He does.
He really does. He's like, he's one of us again. Like,
he's
dude,
earlier, I think
he
says, yeah, he was always out for himself. Right? Doesn't he say that? Chuck does?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. One of them says it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now so many of the bad guys are dead. Sorry, we really flew through my notes. I don't know what I could.
So many of the bad guys are dead.
Running. So many of the bad guys are dead. Like cycle through.
Mazzelli uses the stick to kill a man.
Yes.
Because now the gang has got the weapons and they are ready to attack, and so Mazzelli kills a man with a stick. The one guy with the pants, his pants got blown off. They see one leg left behind.
Yes, right. Chuck blows up Yen's house or hut or wherever he's been living.
Yes.
And they go to assess the damage, and they just see a leg sitting there with a boot on it. And they're like, I recognize those boots. That's him. He's dead. Great. They get in this helicopter, everyone except Chuck Norris, and they fly away. And then, from under the floorboards of this house, Yen pops up.
Just clean as a whistle, too. Yen doesn't even...
That whole house just exploded. He doesn't have dirt on his face.
No.
Not a worm on his body. He's
no,
fine.
Not a thing. No, not even a smudge of like a scratchy blood. Nothing.
Yep.
Nothing.
No. And I love how Chuck Norris emerges from the shadows. And this is where I'm not saying that this would have redeemed this movie, because it's beyond redemption at this point.
Oh no, it's awful.
But Chuck Norris pulls out a gun, and this guy's unarmed, and he's like, "Let's fight like men, no weapons. Let's
What's
really
the
see
better man game?
Yeah, let's
We're
see
gonna
who
play
the
it."
best man is." And I just wanted there to be one quip. Just something clever that Chuck Norris says, and then just blows this guy's head off. Like, that's how I wanted this to end.
It, yeah.
I don't need a final karate battle between
you get it.
these two guys. I didn't need it. Also, at the end of this fight, does Chuck Norris just grab this guy's balls and like really crunch him or something? What is happening at that point? Because then he
does
just
a
like
death grip to him. He
just
does
like
a death
collapses
grip.
on the floor.
I think he grabs his heart or something. I don't think it's his balls, but maybe it.
I don't know what he did, because his hand just goes out, and we see the guy from like the chest up, and he's like, ugh. And then we see Chuck's hand
just clenching,
squeezing fabric.
Yeah.
And he just goes, "This is for Franklin." I was like, "Franklin?
Who's?
That's not Tony. I know he's."
I think that was malaria. That was malaria.
Right. I mean, he did burn him alive. I get it.
Yeah.
And then Yen just drops to the floor. He's not dead, and Chuck just walks out the door.
Yep.
And as another helicopter's there, I don't know why they have two helicopters.
No, I think they came back. So I think
that was a quick trip.
I know, but I think what happened. What happened is they knew that Chuck wanted to have his final time with Yen, and so
All
they
right.
had to fake like they were gone, so that Yen
Got
would come
it.
out from the floorboard, and then they could have this better man battle, which.
It goes
I
on
will
forever.
say it goes on a little long. Chuck's legs. I mean, he does have some powerful legs and some impressive little leg kicks. Lots of fancy footwork, some punches. Yeah, that's all I
But
wrote.
the problem, see,
Like punches, feet.
but here's the
Okay.
thing. He's got, I guess, impressive karate moves, but you're not going to see those legs. He's not going to put on, he's not Arnold. He's not going to strip down to a thong
right.
to get in a rowboat. He's not Van Damme. He's not going to do splits basically
Splits?
in underpants.
Those Van Damme
you're not.
splits.
He's just going to wear baggy pants and kick and in army boots. That's Chuck Norris is so boring. That's the
I hate you,
problem.
Chuck Norris. I hate you.
He's terrible. But this is when he walks out to the helicopter and he picks up, I guess he put more bombs in that house when he was there. I have no
He's just
idea.
Filled it. They're everywhere.
Picks up
Yeah.
that remote and goes, "This is for me." And he clicks and it explodes.
And that's it.
And thankfully, he gets in the helicopter. They fly away. Roll credits.
We don't even get to get like one of those recaps where it's like, and then Tony was reunited with Gina, and
Right.
they,
Oh my God, I would have loved that.
Right?
They adopted Malaria's kids.
Right,
He's got 4
exactly.
kids.
Uh-huh.
But he's helping. Braddock is helping to make payments to those kids. I don't know
Something.
anything.
Right.
The blonde guy at the end is. I even forgot he was there. I
know.
forgot he was even part of this because he's gone for most of it.
Because he was right.
Yeah, and as I said before, all the black characters die.
Mm-hmm.
All the Vietnamese characters die, except maybe the professor. I guess we
Yeah,
see
the
him get on
professor
the
I
thing.
think makes him on the plane.
Yeah,
But again, I wanted to follow through on that guy too.
right. Yeah, it's 3 white guys and the professor that get out of here. That's it.
That's it.
This
Oh.
movie stinks,
It
and
was
I am
horrible.
so sorry
Me
that
too.
I picked it. I went through action movie
I am
sequels.
sorry about that too.
I went through action movie sequels, and I was like, I don't know. People like Chuck Norris for some reason.
Well,
Maybe
this
we just
hasn't
hit a
convinced
dud
me.
with that. No, this is it, Chuck. You're banned.
No more.
I mean, we are-
I'll say this. I will say this.
Yeah.
And especially this is a Patreon episode. So
Sure.
if anyone knows of a redeeming Chuck Norris movie where they're like, we know you hate him, but this will make up for it. Maybe I might. And I'm talking like maybe a year from now. I need a time away from Chuck.
What?
Maybe,
Okay.
maybe we could. By the way, are you wearing a shirt with the letter C on it?
Yeah, I am.
That's perfect.
Okay.
But other than that, I don't want to know Chuck Norris. I
Listen.
don't want to see. I'm curious as to why Chuck Norris was ever popular. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
Van Damme, I get it. Schwarzenegger, of course.
Yeah.
He was the Goodburnator. But this Chuck, I don't
Even
know.
Stallone.
I don't get it.
Stallone.
No,
I
for
never
sure.
I never 100% understood the Stallone appeal. Like, Rocky was great, and I saw him in some action movies,
But then you saw him with Dolly Parton.
when
and you
I
knew.
saw Rhinestone, I was like, I get it. I get this now. But here's another thing that I will tell our patrons, though. If for some reason you just sort of, you like listening to us squirm and you like listening to us, be tortured, if you donate at the $15 level, you could make us watch Chuck Norris movies every year.
It could be what you do.
Right.
Yeah. Oh,
You
God,
could
please
line
don't.
up. You could line up all those Norris '80s movies and be like,
Oh, jeez.
"This is the worst. I'll do this one in 2020.
Oh,
this one in
no,
2021."
I can't. I will have a
I know.
hard time. Because, like I said, I almost didn't want to finish watching this one. And I kept saying, and we just watched that really dumb outer space movie, that Forbidden Planet one.
Uh-huh, right.
And that was a really dumb movie. But that was better than this movie.
Yeah, no, it was
Mm-hmm.
it was laughable. This had nothing. Like, I just sat there stone-faced through the whole thing. I don't even...
I was annoyed.
I don't even think I was annoyed. I was just staring straight ahead.
You were like Chuck Norris's performance.
Yes! I was dead watching this. And I had this was not enjoyable. I hated it. I apologize because
this is our opener for sequels, too.
I know.
Yeah.
And I'm the one that chooses this. Like, you get your April Fools, and I get the action, and this is a terrible way to start this sequels thing. But I will say, we will be doing another Patreon sequels, and it is a TV movie, folks. So I will let our patrons know what we're doing because, it's not until August. And you might say, how did you find a made-for-TV sequel?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It's a sequel from a theatrically released movie. Something that was super popular. That we didn't see. It brought back none of the original cast.
Okay.
And our TV movie that we're going to do in August, our sequel is Splash 2.
Oh, and we haven't even covered Splash 1.
I know.
And it was done in TV movie form.
Yeah. It was really tough to find a TV movie sequel. Because I was even like, if I'm taking this through to October, it's going to be really tough to find a TV movie. And there aren't many. But when I saw Splash 2, and I was like, who's in this? Oh, nobody? Great.
Nobody from the original. That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Get ready for that, patron.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to hopefully be better than this.
It can't be worse. It can't be worse. Even if it's terrible, it can't be as boring as this dumb movie. Except I'll always think about a bird flying out of that guy's head now and laughing at that. So thank you, patrons. Thank you for continuing to listen. Thank you for continuing to support us. We really do appreciate it. Like we had said on our Back to the Future episode, it does cost money for us to keep all those old episodes up in the feed, to keep them available to anyone who may discover the show. They do have 5 years worth of stuff to go back through very easily.
Which is really,
And that really is because of you guys. Thank you so much.
We appreciate you.
Jamie, it sounded like you fell on the floor. What just that? I can see you. You didn't, but that sounded like a body just hit the floor.
I just karate chopped Chuck Norris
All right.
down.
Oh, and I'm also thinking, patrons, if you heard different music at the start of this, then that means I put different music in. But I was thinking, if you didn't, that means I'm still thinking about it. But I use the same music for the Patreon episodes that I do for our regular episodes. But I was thinking it might be fun to change it up for Patreon.
You know what? Spice it up for them.
Yeah. So maybe I'll reach out to the guy who does the music for our main episodes and see if he's done anything else that's 80s-ish.
It'll be fun.
That's it. All right, that's it, everybody.
All right, okay.
We will see you with another regular episode when we get into our summer of sequels, when we're talking about Police Academy 2. That's and right. Patrons, possibly next time we'll be talking Splash 2, unless for some reason we sneak something in before that. But
you don't
anyway,
know.
Talk to you soon, and thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Colonel Braddock! I'll give you 30 seconds to decide whether you want Mazzilli to live or die. Your 30 seconds is up! You have just murdered your last man!
Mazzilli, anything you want me to tell your kid?
Hold it!
Mazzilli is mine. Why don't we just tell the kid that Daddy was a very brave soldier, right up to the very end?
Yeah, I know. I'm going after Hope. Cover us, Hope. We're going in.
No.
Colonel! They're on Yin's house.
Bilka!
Lieutenant? Opelka, left flank. Vasily, I'm back. Ready?